I don't think Renato Nunez has much of a high ground to try to hold out and try to get more money. He'll be lucky if he just makes the team.
Yeah.
But who
Yeah,
knows? So.
too many guys on minor league deals. They're
Yeah,
just
to
like,
try
well, I
to.
guess you'll
I guess
you'll
that's
just go
it.
to Toledo. I don't.
Yeah.
It's Baseball at the Corner. This is the Michigan in Trouble podcast with your hosts, Alex S. Freeman and Luke Jaconis. Hello and welcome to the Michigan and Trumbull podcast. I am Alex Freeman, joined by the birthday boy this week, Luke Jaconis. Happy birthday, Luke.
2-6, never looked so good. Thank you. It was a very nice birthday, very calm. I know I'm in like Florida and people might be thinking he probably went to the beach and partied on a boat with drinks and miles. And I didn't do any of that. I went to the driving range and hit some golf balls. It rained pretty much the entirety of my birthday. And then ordered some pizza, watched Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and then I went out Saturday evening for a drink in downtown Naples with a couple pals. But beyond that, it was very chill, very chill. Had a nice little brunch this morning with some family and friends on, I guess, yesterday morning because this episode drops on a Monday. Subscribe and listen as always. But yeah, it was good. Thank you for asking.
Now here's the question. Where did you get the pizza from?
So where we live in Naples, the clubhouse area has like a kitchen and stuff, and they provided the pizza. I mean, obviously they pay for it. It's not because it's your birthday. They just give out. Nothing is free in Naples. I can tell you that much.
Free pizza for your birthday in Naples.
No,
that's what I hear.
Yeah, I wish, but it was okay. It's good. I haven't really found I mean, look, let's face it. I grew up my entire life in Illinois, Chicagoland suburbs. I lived in Chicago for a brief period of time. Best pizza, I think, there. I've never been to New York, so I can't really compete between a Chicago slice and a New York slice. I do know a New York slice definitely cheaper than a Chicago slice.
Oh, much cheaper.
Yeah, I know that, so I got to give you some props there for NYC. But, there's just like certain things down here I'm not even going to bother trying, like beef sandwiches, hot dogs. I don't even need to attempt to see what Florida even tries to offer because I know the king of the crop, so to speak, is back up north in Illinois. So no beef sandwich will ever beat Portillo's, point blank, period. I don't care what anybody says, what little joint they got in town. Until you've had a Portillo's beef extra dipped, it's not even a conversation in my opinion. But yeah,
that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it is good. And actually, there is a Portillo's down here in Tampa because a few weekends ago I was in Tampa for the Super Bowl. I was hanging with my cousin and my uncle and some other folks, and we stopped at the Portillo's in Tampa, and I was very pleased that it tasted just like the ones back home. So they did not lose any quality going from Illinois to Florida, but. Yeah, I'm still. I have to say
that's one of the nice things about Florida is that there's so many retired Northerners there that there's businesses that have franchises nowhere except for your home state and Florida.
Yeah, no, there is an abundance of Northerners. I've noticed. I've been down in Florida now for about 5 weeks. I've been to Florida. I actually just got my license changed today. I had to get it renewed and. Was about to expire, and I have a Florida driver's license. I'm officially a Florida man, but a lot of Northerners. I've mainly people from the East Coast, Minnesota, Michigan, or Illinois. Those are you never hear of anyone being like, I lived in Arizona and we came. You're like that never happens. It's always northeast. A lot of East Coasters, tons of people I've met from New York, Boston, New Jersey, and then predominantly outside of the East Coast pocket, it's a lot of people from the Midwest, Minnesota, Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin, that kind of area. Some Missouris I've met, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice, and it's been actually kind of cool. I've been out, and so I always usually repping the Tigers polos or a Bears polo for my football team. Most people be like, "Yep, go Tigers," and it's always nice to strike up a conversation. I was actually at the driving range last weekend, and I had a Tigers hat on. And some guys said, "Go Tigers." And we just started kind of talking shop about the team, and it's fun. Everyone for the most part is very kind down here, very polite. And how can you not be happy when it's 75, 80, 85 on any given day. But it's got to be funny though, right? Now, I'm not much of like kind of a spiritual person or like, good omens, bad omens. I believe in karma. I think you definitely got to put good karma into the world. But it was like beautiful and sunshine for the last 3 weeks. Saturday on my birthday rained the entire day. So am I going to be doomed? Is my 26th year going to be full of gloom and despair? Stay tuned to find out.
I heard last year, last year at this time, we're entering the like final normal week of obviously the conversation was starting to develop of like, oh, maybe this is something of deep concern. And some people that were more connected to the scientific community were already ringing the alarm bells. And then finally we'll hit March 13th or so when Broadway shut down, and then the NBA shut down and spring training shut down. And all of those things. And I was listening to a different podcast. I do listen to other podcasts where someone who had a March birthday, which both of us, my birthday is next week. Both of us March birthdays, said
Pisces.
Give love to people with March birthdays in your life, because last year, like certainly people that have had birthdays during the pandemic, during isolation, it has not been a normal birthday. But people were like, people were like, really wanted to make it special. But March birthdays, everybody was just so scared of the world that it kind of got lost in the shuffle. I didn't feel that way. My wife and some of our friends did a very nice job of, my birthday, March 14th, the day after everything shut down, did a nice job of making my birthday very special. You may have squeaked yours in under the radar last year.
Yeah, we did. I remember I was in Chicago one night. I got together with some friends and whatnot. I think we did dinner, had a small little party, little get together, did a family party like the next day. And then the night like the world shut down, I remember where I was. I went as a kind of belated birthday gift. My dad, my brother, and we all went to see Goodfellas because they re-released in theaters. That's my favorite movie. And when we went into the theater, it was like, oh yeah, this coronavirus stuff, it's getting kind of real. I've got to keep an eye on it. We came out of the movie. The NBA suspended their season. They put that travel ban on, and Tom Hanks was the first celebrity to be like, I have COVID. And it was like, oh my, like honestly, start of Goodfellas, world is kind of normal. Goodfellas is over. Everyone don't leave your house for a year.
That's incredible. So a very special happy birthday from the Michigan and Trumbull podcast to anybody who has a March birthday in this like window of time. Where the world went wild.
It's crazy that it's been a year, like pretty much, right? I was just talking to a friend down here, and I was like, I remember when I was back home before I made the move, obviously, when I was at work, obviously at first it wasn't. At first, it's so weird in hindsight that at first when this all happened, masks were still kind of an option. I mean, I know some people treat them as an option still, but I mean, for the most part, most people are doing masks and everything nowadays, right? I remember when I first started going to work and COVID was, definitely making its rounds, I did gloves on my hands, but like for a few days, I didn't wear a mask because I was like, I think it's kind of weird to be wearing a mask. I don't want to be weird or anything. Fast forward to a year from now, when I see someone not wearing a mask, I'm like, this guy, what's this guy doing?
That's so weird. Why is he doing that?
Why do I see his face? Why do I see his face? And so it's crazy how in a year, like everything has just gone and just flipped. But hey, hopefully this time next year, when we're just, finishing celebrating my 27th birthday, hopefully we're just back to that kind of where it's back to the way things were. Fingers crossed. I think we'll get there. I know we've got some good signs in terms of sports because fans are going to get to come see some games. I know we're going to get into that all today, but I think we're going to get there slowly but surely. We're getting out of this thing. It's definitely taking some time, but I'm feeling good, and I think a lot of other people should too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as we kind of transition into the actual start of the meat and potatoes of the show a little bit, let's talk about like spring training. When I think about, it's hard to remember spring training feeling normal last year because it's so quickly shut down and became a very different conversation that we're trying to have. But spring training has opened, and one of the stories that I kind of want to open us up with is that Al Kaline was remembered at spring training in a very quiet and classy way. If those of you that are connected that have maybe missed this story, but from Al Kaline's son, for 66 years the Tigers organization set up number 6 in a locker at spring training for Al Kaline, and they did it again this year. And if you haven't had a chance to go look at Kaline's son's post about it, do Google that, look it up. It's a very beautifully written, and the picture is very touching, just to see the locker set up. So yet another very classy move by the Tigers organization. I know that we have some issues with ownership at times, but in general that they are, and sometimes this is to their detriment. They're exceedingly loyal to some guys, and I think that Al is one that is worthy of that loyalty, absolutely. And to see them continue to do that is a beautiful tribute.
Yeah, I remember when we did our episode last year about Al Kaline, kind of our tribute episode, if you will. And I don't remember what the year was off the top of my head, but essentially the stat is Al Kaline throughout his entire career, whether he was a player, a coach, developmental, scouting, upper management, whatever the case may be, he was always with the Tigers. Like he never once went to be a scout for the White Sox. He never once went to be a minor league coach in the Brave system or whoever. He was always a Tiger, which obviously then gives him the nickname Mr. Tiger. So it's just, and we don't ever, I can't think of another athlete, honestly. I'm sure there are some out there, so I'm not knocking or anyone or trying to leave them out in the cold, but an entire career in one organization, again, whether it was a player, a coach, just as an assistant, whatever it might be, Al Kaline always wore the old English D. And I think that is just pretty awesome. And I honestly don't think we'll ever see that again. I could be wrong.
And you think about athletes that are, it was 1954 was Al Kaline's first year with the team. This is the first spring training since 1954 that did not have Al Kaline at it.
Yep.
And you think about guys that are highly associated with teams. You think about like Jordan and the Bulls. Jordan played for other teams. He now owns other a different franchise. He played different sports, or even like Jeter in the Yankees.
Exactly, that's who I was going to say. Yeah,
but now he's
Hall of Famer.
The Marlins. So
great point.
And it just and certainly. Like you see these guys go places, go different places. You see it with James Harden right now, making his first return to Houston. And it's like, do we boo or do we cheer? And it's like, you should probably cheer because the guy did a lot for you guys. And it's always nice. And we talk about it like Justin Verlander. We would love to see Justin come back to Detroit and finish his career there. All those reunion type stories, but it's not it. There's something about 66 years of Mr. Tiger that we'll never see that again.
And also exactly because it goes past the point when they take off the uniform. It's like you said it perfectly with Jeter. Jeter is the best example because he wore those pinstripes his entire career, but then when his career was over on the field, off the field, he goes, down South Beach and he's with the Marlins now. So, and we're not, by no means are we knocking these guys who go to different teams. We're just pointing out the fact that it is such an impressive statistic on Al Kaline's part, such loyalty to one organization, one city for your entire life. And that is just so awesome. So, Al Kaline, Mr. Tiger, just one of the best, one of the greats, honestly, one of the greats, and probably the greatest to ever put on a Tigers uniform. You can make an argument, I think, there. I know we love Miggy, and who knows, maybe one day that'd be, man. Imagine if we could have had a parallel universe. And I guess remember last year there was that thing they were doing like the Legends rosters and lineups and all that stuff. Imagine a lineup with Al Kaline and Miguel Cabrera. Talk about bridging the gap between two generations. That'd been pretty sweet, but they got to have, I'm sure, tons and tons of interactions off the field after Al's career while Miggy was, still playing, especially with spring training and just everything in Comerica. So again, Al Kaline, just the best.
Even that's an interesting, you bring up Miguel Cabrera, because when I think about okay, if Al Kaline doesn't exist, who is Mr. Tiger? And some of that has to do with that, Miguel Cabrera is the guy who's been the centerpiece of the lineup for most of the time you and I have been fans. But still not necessarily Mr. Tiger in the same way, because he did not start his career in Detroit. He, has played the best years of his career have been here. And
the bulk,
and iconically associated with the franchise, but still not 66 years, got the job when he was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And was with the organization until he died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the funny thing with Miggy too, and I don't obviously, the one thing that's funny with him is wins a World Series with the Marlins, but when he goes into the Hall of Fame, he's not going in as a Marlin. He's going in as a Tiger. Whether or not they win one while he's still with the team or not, the point is moot. So it's just funny, again, he's with the Marlins for a few seasons, but he'll be remembered as a Tiger. But again, just bring it back to Al Kaline, the entire career with one team. It's just phenomenal. So very cool stuff.
He was a Detroit Tiger for over 3 times as many years as he was not a Detroit Tiger in his entire life.
Yep. That's what we call loyalty, folks.
Yeah.
If you want to look at a pillar of loyalty, look at Al Kaline.
Yeah. Incredible. Opening day coming up though in Detroit, April 1st, we will have fans in the stands. The governor did announce that there will be up to 1,000 fans allowed at opening day. Not clear yet who gets to come. There is some pushback because obviously that equates to like 2% of the capacity at Comerica. And it is an outdoor stadium and certainly, but I don't want to, I would much rather celebrate that we get to have 1,000 fans at Comerica than nitpick as not a scientist what the policy should be. And so waiting to see who those fans get to be. I imagine it will come from season ticket holders. That just makes the most sense to me. But it's going to be exciting to have fans in Comerica, which means that there should, barring some major setback or something, we should have fans in the stands while Miguel Cabrera chases these records. And hopefully we only get to increase capacity as the season wears on and he gets closer.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, I think, the big picture goal here. Well, first of all, I remember, I think at our wrap-up episode at the end of the 2020 season, I think we both said, do we think there'll be fans in the stands at the start of this season? We both said yes. So, hey, kudos to us for being right. We're finally right about something.
Nailed it.
Show. Way to go, us. And yeah, is that number probably a little low, 1,000? Yeah, it probably is. They could probably bump it up a little bit more. But like you said, Alex, we're not the scientists. We're not the smart ones about who should be, going and what's the safe number and what's the number that makes it not so safe. We'll leave that to the professionals to handle. But let's just put it in this perspective, too, to kind of put a positive spin on it. This time last year, we didn't even know if we were going to be able to have a season, and let alone even having fans in the stands. Everything just seemed so doom and gloom. And although we're still not out of the woodwork entirely yet, we're definitely in a much better spot a year later, kind of in hindsight. So the fact if it's 1,000, great. Whoever those lucky fans are that get to go for the first month or two, those 1,000 fans per game, enjoy it. And I think you brought up a great point, too. Assuming everything goes well and there's no huge setbacks in these next couple months, you are only going to see that number go from 1,000 to maybe 3, 5, 10. I don't know, what the overall, and obviously the end game number is just back to normal full capacity, but who knows if we'll reach that this season. But definitely though, as the season progresses, it's going to go beyond 1,000. It'll probably be slow. Don't expect it, I think, to go from 1,000 to 20,000. But, I think generally and kind of marginal increases over the season will happen. And boy, oh boy, I'd love to get back up. I don't know when I'll be back in the Midwest area, but best believe if I am anytime in the coming months or so and the season's still going on, I would definitely try to get up to Comerica and catch a game. I know I'll probably be able, I think Detroit comes to town. They don't play the Marlins at all this year. They play Tampa in September. So if, everything's going well, I know I'll be able to go see it. I have no doubt that they'll be worried about capacities and stuff. But it'll be good. So to those fans who get to go, enjoy it.
Yeah, and I will say,
what about you for New York? You heard anything about the Yankees?
Yeah, they just opened up big stadiums like the Knicks and the Nets are able to have fans at their games. I think it's 10% is their capacity, anticipating that number will be between 10 and 25, maybe a little bit more for opening day for the Yankees and the Mets. So yeah, definitely looking like I should be able, hopefully I can go see when the Tigers come to town at the beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May, I think is when they come to town. So hopefully I can get in to see them then. And I will say also, like those of you that are, especially those of you that are in Michigan that listen to this show, when it's your turn to get a shot, wear a mask, wash your hands.
Yes.
Don't worry. It's not political, it's science. And if you do those things, caseloads come down, become safer for everybody out there, and the capacities in the stadium can go up. That is true. Everybody wants to get more people in the stands. We all want to go back. Yeah, they just don't want people to die, and so just wear that mask, wash those hands.
Yeah, don't stand on top of people. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. Give personal space, pandemic or not. I don't want to have some guy breathing down my neck to the point where I can smell the salami sandwich he had for lunch. Like, give people some space, folks. That's nothing political or even science. That's just being a normal human being. I don't want to smell what, brand of toothpaste or lack thereof you're using in the morning if you're that close to me. You got to take some steps back. Also, something interesting to note, too, I think right now in Lakeland, the capacities that they're allowing for fans to attend is 2,000. Yep. So we're talking about 1,000 people difference. Now, granted, again, after the year we've had, 1,000 people, that is a lot. But, it's not like Lakeland's letting in 15,000 right now, and then Michigan is only going to let in 1 at the start of the season. So I can understand if people are frustrated. I do agree. I think we could probably bump up that number a little bit more than 1,000. But again, those are much bigger decisions for much smarter people than I am. So I'll let them handle that. But make no mistake about it. If we do all the right things, like you just said, Alex, if everyone's just smart, mature, responsible adults, we're going to get back to the games much sooner than I think we all probably thought we would. And you get to go with your friends and your family and all that stuff. And hell, maybe even to get to go to a game one day and not have to wear a mask. That's going to be a weird, strange feeling, I'm sure. But I think we are going to get there. We just got to take the right steps before we can kind of have that celebration party, so to speak. But it's going to be good. Everyone, it's going to be good.
We're going to get there. Now, related to all this, the AAA season they have pushed it back a month. They're going to start it a month later than they originally planned. So instead of beginning of May, it's going to start in the beginning of June. And that is to allow time for players and fans, a stronger vaccine rollout, so that more or less, and based on what we've heard government timeline wise, there should be enough vaccines for everybody to have one shot by that point. Adults in America, and then to allow more fans in the stadiums, because obviously minor league baseball, they make their money on people in the stands much more so than Major League Baseball does, who makes their money mostly on TV deals, and then there's also stadium money to be made. Minor league needs the people in the stands. I think this is a great decision from a business perspective, allows us to have a minor league season. It will be interesting to kind of see how that factors into lineup decisions and roster decisions that guys need to make, especially like thinking about somebody like Isaac Paredes, who AJ Hinch has sort of hinted at might need to be on the major league roster just for his development. That there's
which I love. By the way, I another feather in the cap to AJ Hinch, where I feel like some players might come like, well, he's got to get his reps in down in the mud. AJ Hinch is like, forget that. If he wants to learn, develop, and grow, we think he's best if he's up here, which is terrific. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead. Yeah,
he will look fine and do fine at the minor league level, and I think that we saw that in how especially Isaac's winter season went. That he is at a spot where he needs to be facing major league pitching, playing defense at a major league level to get better, which also then, be aware, everybody, and AJ is aware of this, that means he's going to make mistakes out there. And that is part of the process. And I think that that's also another thing that we might have to adjust to as Tigers fans here in the beginning of this season, is that AJ is planning for mistakes. And so we have to, offer the grace that that's going to happen and say, this is about next year. This is about this is about June even. Like we're going to make these mistakes in April so that by June we've got those cleared out of our system. We've developed, we've done everything that we need to do there.
Yeah, there's no more passionate Tigers fan than myself. So even I have to check myself. I have to chickadee wreck my I have to chickadee check myself before I riggedy wreck myself. I have to. But yeah, no, it's gonna be good, and everything AJ Hinch I think has done up to this point has been phenomenal. The coaching staff, we've talked about that he's assembled. I just love his overall message he's giving to this team. Everything is looking good right now for the Tigers, just in terms of developing and becoming that team that we want to see compete. And I think it's great. And in terms of the AAA season, kind of going back to that topic, if the only for AAA, it makes perfect sense because you pretty much hit the nail right on the head, Alex. They rely in terms of revenue on fans in the stands. So if they can wait another month, hopefully more vaccines are rolled out, numbers are going down, it's safe for more people to come into the stadium, I think that's great. And I would even almost be willing to say, why does MLB not try that? But you said it quite perfectly as well. You're very on today with all your stats and your facts. You're on the ball today, so good for you. But the MLB, obviously, there is other ways for money to be made outside of fans in the stands, whether it's television deals, stadium money, merchandising, concessions. I mean, I guess concessions does kind of go hand in hand with fans, but you know what I mean. So yeah, especially with the TV deals, it's just easier for the bigger markets to make money outside of fans, whereas minor league systems and teams are kind of relegated solely to being dependent on fans in the stands. So
yeah, there's not a big TV deal to be had to watch the Toledo Mud Hens.
Exactly. You see a lot of Yankees commercials, a lot of Angels, Astros, Braves, whoever those big teams are, the big superstars. You really won't see many Lakeland Flying Tigers ads anytime soon. But maybe we should.
Not even in Lakeland, really.
Not even Lakeland. Yeah. That's something. It's true. I live where I'm at in Naples. I'm about 45, 50 minutes away from Fort Myers, where the Twins are doing for spring training. And then obviously when they're not training, it's the Fort Myers Miracle, I believe. They're the minor league team. Haven't seen one television promotion, not even like an ad on a website, nothing. And it's like 45 minutes away from me. So yeah, it's good though. I think for the minors and for AAA and just to keep minor league baseball alive and well, it's a smart decision. It's a financially smart decision. Health-wise, it's a smart decision. So I have zero complaints with them pushing it back a month. I think it's a very good call.
Yeah. And so that brings us into a little spring training update. Let's dive into it. I think it was a pretty good week overall. One of the things as we were getting ready for the show, we were chatting and we were like, not a like newsy week particularly, just like getting at it. I've been reading a lot of articles about Torkelson's like lunch bucket approach to spring training. And I sort of have felt that with the entire organization, that there is just like let's get in, let's get to work. We're still missing a couple of guys that have not cleared health protocols quite yet, but otherwise most guys are getting in. So let's kind of just go game by game through the spring training. Not a whole lot to report because obviously spring training, you don't want to put too much on any of this. So more of a pitching focus this time because that's what we had talked about. We wanted to see this week, and let's see what we got. So going back to last Monday, they lost to the Yankees 5-4 in 7 innings. Funkhauser faced 5 in 1 inning, walked 2, struck out 1. A little bit on a not quite the control that we maybe want to see, but still getting there. The other one I want to pull out, Gregory Soto had a rough time facing 6, giving up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. That's okay. Again, don't want to put too much on any of these things, just things to, clock
keep
and
in
be
mind.
Aware of. Maybe we want to see a better outing next time from Funkhauser and some improvement. That's what we're looking for. Then Tuesday beat the Pirates 6-1 in 5 innings. I love spring training. I love it.
Yeah, it's so funny here. A five inning final.
It's over. We're done.
Yeah.
Also, actually, while we're here, I want to ask you, what do you think about the new-ish rule where they can just end an inning after 20 pitches?
Well, Well, that happened. Didn't that happen the first game of the season when they were playing the Phillies?
Yeah, they just went.
They were like
done.
they were walloping on Ivan Nova and some other pitcher, and then didn't Joe Girardi come out and he was like, "All right, enough. Let's go.
Yeah,
Come on,
we're
AJ.
done. This is over."
Yeah. Like I hope that rule stays at some point throughout the regular season, because I've seen some Tigers games where I wish I could just be like, "All right, enough. Let's go. Let's go to the next half of the inning, please." But I mean, for spring, that's why again, spring training is awesome, because sometimes they just pull like little rules and games and tricks out of their butt, and it's like, all right, I guess we'll just roll with it. They want to stop. It's like I remember playing in Little League. There was like the slaughter rule after like 4 innings. If you're winning by 10 or more, they'd call the game on slaughter rules. So maybe they should bring back that rule this season as well.
It was always like, I think back to last summer, especially when as we were still in the summer camps. Mm-hmm. And I think Fox Sports Detroit broadcast a summer camp like inter-squad game. Yeah. And they were trying, like, the announcers had no idea if the inning was over or not. They were like, are they ending it? What's happening? Yeah. Is the inning over? Is the game over? Yeah. Are they?
Yeah. They're just like, they just would walk off the field like, and I guess that's it for our broadcast.
Yes, we're done. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Yeah. But so then Tuesday, 6-1-5 inning game, Casey Mize threw 2 innings, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, faced 9 batters. Pretty decent outing. Yeah. The walks, obviously a point of, let's maybe limit those a little bit more. We don't want a 1-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio necessarily.
True.
But no big point of concern as of yet. Wednesday, they lost to the Phillies 4-2 and 7. Norris threw 2, picked up 2 strikeouts, no walks, no hits.
He looks good in camp thus far. I mean, we're not going to be the podcast that tries to dive too much into spring training results and final scores and stats and all that stuff. But for what I've seen of Daniel Norris thus far in camp, and it's been very, very limited, he just looks good. And I'm always conflicted with Norris, because I feel like he always just kind of gets left out in the cold, so to speak, with making the rotation. He's like that spot start guy. Then they throw him in the bullpen and he's great. So I don't know. And I know we have a bunch of pitchers vying for rotation spots. There's a couple of spots up for grabs, no doubt. So I definitely feel like he's in that pack again where he could get left out, but I don't know. He just looks good. And I'm just, again, we like Daniel Norris a lot because he just seems like a cool dude. I'd love to grab a beer with him, and I'm sure he would like read me poetry and tell me like things about life and philosophy and my soul that I don't even know about myself, which would be terrific. So yeah, no, Daniel Norris though, he looks great thus far. He looks just like he's in control. And again, I'm not trying to get too deep into spring training starts and appearances, but he looks good.
Yeah,
we don't hear that much, to be fair. Like, it's always Miggy looks great. This guy looks good. Looks like it's nice to give credit where credit is due. And I think thus far he's having a real nice spring and a good camp.
Yeah, which is great and encouraging, because I think that it gives a lot of optionality to AJ Hinch with the pitching staff if Norris is throwing well. Mm-hmm. Buck Farmer then came into that game, faced 7 batters, gave up 3 hits and 4 runs with a walk. Not a great outing from the guy that you want to bring into high leverage situations.
Yeah, he's getting him out of his system now. That's why.
Yeah. And I'm going to flag that one, because when we get to Saturday's game, Buck Farmer does make a reappearance, and so we can discuss
foreshadowing
the second appearance. Yeah, you like how I did that? That's good play writing right there.
Yep.
Thursday, Tigers beat the Blue Jays 8-2 in 7 innings. Turnbull threw 2 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and 2 runs. I did not listen and or watch that game, but my sort of the 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, just that leads me to think he was being pretty aggressive and throwing strikes. And so, like we've said multiple times, always fine with a guy giving up a hit if it means he's throwing strikes, as opposed to walking guys. And so that's, obviously would love a slightly better line where he doesn't give up 2 runs, but they also won the game. So I guess that's fine too. And you can give up 2 if they're going to score 8.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, again, this is working kind of the ring rust off, so to speak. But a lot of these guys too, it's just nice to have them back and just see them even having moderate success. They go out and give up some hits or they have a couple walks. It's just nice that they're going out there for the most part and they're pitching well. I know there's been some appearances that we've gone, not so great. But again, it's spring training. We're not going to lose a lot of sleep over some rough starts because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I would say that there's something about these starts, and maybe it's because there is, new management in town that he walked a couple guys. I'm like, okay, great, they'll make the adjustment.
Yeah.
And I'm not as concerned about maybe we need a new guy in the rotation because I don't trust I do trust this coaching staff so far to make the adjustments necessary.
This might be kind of a weird simile, but I'm kind of attributing this Tigers team to Christmas morning when you wake up as a kid and you got all those presents and you just want to open them up and play with all your new toys. That's kind of how I feel with this team right now. They're like Christmas morning and we just want to play with them and just see what we can do and see what we got. And that's on the pitching side, the hitting side, and even on the coaching side. There's so many new fresh faces. It's just really exciting to see them in camp and even little glimpses of games whether it's a 5-inning game and they play a full 9 innings. It's just pretty awesome to see. So lots of good stuff going there. That's a simile, right? Yeah, simile is a comparison that uses like or as, and I said Christmas morning, so I was right. Anyone trying to be a grammar police at home, save it. I'm 26 now. I don't make mistakes.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Boom.
Just looking up. Then Friday. Sorry.
You're fine.
I'm trying to jump to Sunday, but we have to talk about Friday and Saturday before we get to Sunday.
Well, we have to. Rebecca Black made a whole song about it. Friday.
That's right.
Gotta get down on Friday.
And we do. No, we don't have to get down on Matthew Boyd for how he threw on Friday.
No.
But threw 2 frames, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. I think that's the only one that I'm really kind of flagging in my head because obviously walks were a real problem for him last year, and so you want to start to see that we are really capped at 2 walks, that even as he throws some more innings as the spring continues, that we're just not seeing a lot of those walks. That's the only one that I'm really flagging in my head as potential for concern. I am not yet concerned.
Yeah.
But if it continues on this line, I would have concerns.
Yeah, Matt's going to be okay. Matthew Boyd, we can't say enough about who he is on and off the field. And yeah, last year was rough. I have no doubt in my mind. I'm really excited to see how he will do now under the tutelage of a Chris Fetter. I think this Chris Fetter signing is going to be one of the sneakiest, most underrated, yet most positive signings the Tigers have made in recent years. That's how much, just for whatever reason, and again, I'm not a huge college baseball guy. I don't really follow the sport too closely. But I just got this good feeling about Chris Fetter that he's going to really bring out the best in these pitchers. And I'm so excited for that. And I think Matthew Boyd, a guy like him, Norris, Turnbull, some of these guys who've been around now for a few seasons, they're really going to kind of get to take that next step, so to speak, because of a guy like Chris Fetter. And then on the other hand, too, Mize and Manning and Screwball and all these other young pitchers that are coming up are going to get to really kind of get their feet wet with a guy like Chris Fetter. So I think it's really a good spot to be in. I got a lot of high hopes and optimism in regards to Chris Fetter. I think he's going to kill it in Detroit. I really do.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that's one of the things that's as I think about what I'm tracking from this past week into next week is as these guys start to reappear, what adjustments have we seen them make? And obviously, it takes time for an adjustment to really take hold and take place.
Absolutely.
In a guy, but what you want to see out of your pitching coach is he's able to give them both the quick adjustment for their next start and that they're working on the long-term adjustment, whatever that might need to be. And I think definitely a guy like Matt Boyd, it's a lot of mental game stuff. And I hope that Chris Fetter lives up to the expectation that he's able to kind of coach Matt Boyd through a lot of those potential mental blocks that he was probably running into last season as things got off to a rocky start and continued on that way.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of what this new this new era does, and I think we're all in for a pleasant surprise, and I truly believe that.
Yeah. And then Saturday, 6-5 win against the Orioles in 9.
Was that our first 9-inning game?
No, Friday the 5th was they played that.
Okay.
And tied the Yankees 1-1.
Okay.
So yeah, Saturday 6-5 against the Orioles in 9. Fulmer threw 2 back from having a baby, or I guess his wife had the baby, but back from meeting his new child.
Yes.
Gave up a hit and struck 1 out. Tarek Skubal came in then and threw 2, gave up 1 hit, 2 strikeouts.
Nice.
Buck Farmer came in and threw an inning. All zeros on the line for him, and two ground outs and 1 fly out is how he got those outs that he needed. So Buck. That's what we want to see from Buck.
Country Buck.
From Country Buck Farmer. And we want to see that, come in to, he had a bad showing, came in.
Yeah.
Had exactly the showing we need him to have.
That's how it works. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Then as we record Sunday afternoon, they're playing against the Blue Jays as we speak. Urena had a little bit of control issues at the start of the game. Gave up a hit, a run, 3 walks. I was just looking up the line on Casey Mize, who came in after Urena, and 2 innings pitched, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. So maybe some control issues there as well. End of the week. We can't, it's the end of the week. Casey, he's probably tired. It happens. Walks are going to happen. Hey, you know what? They're going to happen in spring training. That's fine. I just don't want to see him in the regular season, and I think we'll be okay. Urania is an interesting one because, all jokes aside, he's going to be the innings eater. I think he's this year's Ivan Nova. I think the year before that, it was a guy like Tyson Ross. So I just think he's the innings eater guy. There's going to be some starts we're going to go out there and go, all right, not bad, 5-6 innings. And there's going to be some starts when we go like, we need to pull him, and it's already the 2nd inning. And that's just going to kind of be how it is. So we just got to kind of be patient with that. And again, walks are going to happen. Let's let these guys figure it out in spring training. We can't get too, kind of worked up over it. Not that we are by any means. Just keeping an eye on certain pitchers, and especially when it's guys like Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal, they're going to be under the magnifying glass a little bit more than maybe a guy like Fulmer or Norris, just because they're the young bucks coming up. They're the rookies. They're the future. So we all want to really nitpick every single little thing they do, but we have to give them time to grow. They're going to fall on their face. Sometimes they're going to rise to the occasion because they're still prospects pretty much at the end of the day. So we got to let them do their thing. What I'm looking for as we head into this week, I'll be curious to see for these guys who kind of get their 2nd or 3rd go around with some starts or maybe appearances, depending on when they come into the game. But I guess let's kind of keep an eye on the starters more than the relievers in this case. If they'll start stretching them out more, getting more innings, more pitch count, raising those pitch counts maybe from 30 to 40, probably getting closer to 50, 60, maybe 70, 75. So that's what I'll be curious to kind of keep an eye on this week is how are we starting to kind of stretch these starters out and seeing them go a little bit deeper into games. Yeah. And, one of the things, I agree. I'm finding myself much more concerned about the pitching in this spring training than I maybe I'm more holistically concerned about the team usually, but this year it really is about pitching in the bullpen for me because I think the bats are going to be fine. I think that we're seeing it, that they're scoring runs. There's not so far. Nobody seems to be like, oh, maybe we have some concerns about the stroke that this person has coming into spring. They did a nice job in the offseason of picking up some guys with good bats. Good, not great, good bats in the offseason, and they're doing a nice job of continuing to hit. And so let's head into a quick ad break, hear from the sponsors. When we come back, we're going to chat about one of those pickups, 2 of those pickups really. We talk about Robbie Grossman, Greg Garcia, and then we're going to talk about how Tigers fans are some of the booziest in baseball.
I'm going to go pour a beer.
Do it. We are back at the Michigan and Trumbull podcast as my co-host here, Luke Jaconis, pours a beer. Beautiful technique, Luke. It's
Thank
well
you.
done. A little surprised you've never worked as a bartender, to my knowledge. That is.
No, I couldn't be a bartender. I'd sample the product too much.
That's true. You can't be, well, I've heard many stories about some of the things that bartenders do. I've also never been a bartender. My closest experience to restaurant work was at a Cracker Barrel, and then I was a shift manager at a Jimmy John's for a while. So that's
I knew that. The Cracker Barrel gives you great portion size when you order. If you order something from Cracker Barrel, you'll be able to eat for the next 2 weeks. The portions are so big. I'd also like to point out to anybody watching the show on Facebook right now, because the episodes drop on Monday, I'm not having a beer on Monday. See, not perfect. On a Monday at like 1 p.m. I'm working right now. We're recording on a Sunday, so keep your judgmental comments to yourself.
Hey, that's I once had a boss who, if you asked him how many beers can I have at lunch, he would have said, "How long do you have for lunch?" So
I got to meet that guy.
He was a very interesting character, Marion Wagner. Worked for him for a long time.
Wow.
When I first met him, introduced himself, he goes, "My name's Marion Wagner. It's a girl's name."
I was going to say.
Always had the aviators on. Marion was an intimidating man. But
sounds like John Voight's character in Holes, Mr. Sir.
Yeah.
His name was Marion Seville. Because then at the end, when they're all getting busted, one of the kids goes, "Marion, I didn't know that was a man's name." And then he goes, "Dang."
I actually think John Voight would play Marion Wagner in the film of Marion's life. But anyway, the Detroit Tigers signed Robbie Grossman.
They did.
In the offseason. In the 4 games that Robbie has played so far in spring training, he has hit leadoff in all of those games, which might be the first clue we have to the actual opening day batting order in Detroit. What are your thoughts on Robbie Grossman hitting leadoff, Luke?
Definitely from the projected lineups that I've kind of seen speculated on the internet, that definitely kind of seems to be the trend we're heading in. I don't have an opinion really for or against it. Look, if he gets on base, great. I think that's kind of what you want in a leadoff hitter. But also, it's funny too if you think about it. Actually, an old coworker of mine brought up to me. He's like, I never really understood the pressure of being the leadoff hitter. He's like, I think people glorify it really more than it is. You lead off one time. You are guaranteed one leadoff at bat. You may have others throughout the game, depending on how innings go and whatnot. But the only time you're truly all right, you're our leadoff hitter, it's the first at bat in the first inning of the game. Do we sometimes put too much pressure and praise on the leadoff spot? It's kind of an interesting discussion I think that could be had. But in terms of this conversation, if Robbie is the leadoff hitter, great. As long as he's finding ways to get on base to start off an inning, I think that's what you're looking for in a leadoff hitter, whether it's a walk, a base hit, whatever the case may be. Just you want that first guy to get on base to kind of be the table setter for those 3, 4, 5 guys in your lineup. I am a bit surprised if you would have show me everyone that's going to be potentially in the starting lineup. I probably wouldn't have had him pegged as the leadoff hitter. I would have probably more gone along the lines of a Jacoby Jones, maybe a Willie Castro. If Victor Reyes were to be the starting right fielder, maybe even him. But yeah, so it's cool. As long as he's getting on base and he's being the true leadoff hitter for his one leadoff at bat, great. And I think we've been saying a lot. This team is going to be changing a lot throughout the season. So even if he is the leadoff hitter on opening day, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me the last game of the season if he's not the leadoff hitter and it was somebody else. I wouldn't be shocked. So again, kind of just being able to adapt and to change this season, I think is something we're all going to have to get used to as Tigers fans. And I think we'll be okay. But if Robbie's the guy to start off with, I wish him the best. As long as he does his job, I got no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that, so if we have Robbie Grossman hitting leadoff, player to be named later, hitting second, Miguel Cabrera hitting third, and then so who is that? Who is second and who's fourth in your mind?
Are we just talking about opening day?
Opening day lineup. Who?
Yeah,
so if you look at the roster.
Well, you got to remember too, Scope's in there as well. So like, are you gonna, because Scope was hitting second at points in time last year? That's a good question. I think if I had to say, like, all right, let's go 1 through 4, just off the top of my head, I'd go, I guess, Robbie Grossman. I think they're going to try to go Willie Castro hitting second, which I don't disagree with as long as he's getting on base. Great. Third, Miggy. Fourth, Jamer. Maybe fifth, Scope. No, I'm just going down the entire order. Let's go down the entire order. Fifth, Scope. Sixth, Wilson Ramos. Seventh, you could see maybe Mazzara. Jacoby will probably bat 8th or 9th, and then I don't know who. I know I'm leaving someone out. Nunez. I forgot Nunez, probably the first baseman. Yeah, you'll probably see. Let's see. Yeah, Tandy 4th, Scope 5th, Ramos 6th, Nunez 7th, 8th would be Mazzara, 9th Jacoby, or maybe you flip flop Jacoby and Mazzara, or if it's Reyes, whoever wins the right field spot out of camp. So I think though for the sake of your question, I think your top 4, just hypothetically, this could totally be wrong. Let's go Robbie, Willie, Miggy, and Jamer. Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense. The only argument I might make is putting Scope in 2, as opposed to, but depending on how he's hitting once we see him.
You could even flip flop them. I feel like you could put Scope hitting 4th and Jamer hitting 2nd. I mean, or again, that's why I think you could even see Willie Castro lead off. I honestly believe that you could see Willie, Jamer, Miggy, Scope. I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to kind of keep, again, changing a lot. That lineup card is going to change quite a bit this season. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting too as you make that point, because this applies to 1 at bat in the entire game, and then it's a matter of like, how do you place guys so that they will continue to keep pressure on the pitcher? I think one of the things that the Tigers had going for them in the beginning half of last short season was that for whatever reason, the 7, 8, 9 guys were doing a really nice job of hitting and turning over the lineup, so that that pressure was there. And once that stopped, that's when part of the reason the wheels started to fall off the bus on last season. Certainly not the only reason that the wheels fell off the bus last season. But and it is one of those things that I think that with AJ Hinch, we will not necessarily, like, if Robbie Grossman is the leadoff man on opening day, he might not be the leadoff guy on April 2nd.
Exactly.
That it is entirely possible based on the pitcher and all of those analytics and all of that math that I don't even begin to understand. And
if you don't understand it,
they'll adjust those lineup things, which is why I stand by my statement that I think that there will come a point where Miguel Cabrera does not hit 3rd. And that might mean that he hits 4th. That they say, you know what, we're going to get, we're not going to lose an at bat for Miguel Cabrera, and we can get some more guys on base if we shift him to 4 in the lineup. And they see those options.
And also, I think you have to keep in mind too, we just named a bunch of guys. We didn't even talk about Isaac Paredes, who we definitely are getting the vibe is going to be getting a strong push to make the team out of camp and maybe even somehow compete for a starting job. Nico Goodrum, my best friend in the whole wide world, is going to be all over the field this season. We're hoping at a point in time, maybe Jake Rogers takes the reins from Wilson Ramos and kind of, the student becomes the master, so to speak. So we'll see. Again, there's going to be a ton of lineup turnover, and it's just going to, again, for Tigers fans who are kind of used to that traditional, you have the same 9 guys every day for 162. Embrace the change, because it's going to be different this year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. You got to check your lineup card if you're a scorekeeper at home, because you can't pencil it in until they start coming up to bat. Really, that's going to be
exactly
the way it works. Then I want to talk about a quote from Greg Garcia, a utility infielder, Greg Garcia, most recently with the Padres before coming to Detroit. And this is the quote. It's an exciting time to be a Tiger, and it's only going to get better. I saw this in San Diego. If you get enough talented players with a mix of veteran guys, a lot of really good things can happen. And he then later went on to say that the Tigers have been bringing in some veteran guys who have been on winning teams. And I think that that's there's a really nice culture shift that Greg Garcia is pointing to in the Tigers organization. And so I just wanted to grab your thoughts. And also you're, primarily competing with Willie Castro for the roster spot. I think Greg Garcia as an infielder.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think I've even given Greg Garcia a shout out thus far. So he's kind of it's that time in spring training where there's a million names being shuffled around, different scenarios of who's starting, who's making the team. So forgive me, Greg, but it's a nice comment, and he is correct with his words. I definitely think they're definitely bringing in these other pieces who have won before or have been on winning teams. And now hopefully those pieces that they're bringing in can kind of force that philosophy on this young group of guys. So I like the comment. I think I agree with the comment in terms of Greg Garcia and his Detroit Tigers tenure. I don't know. He could make the team out of camp. I really haven't been. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not a Greg Garcia stan on Twitter, so I guess I haven't been following as closely as I should be. But you did say he is primarily competing with Willie for the starting job or the spot. I think Willie's going to be the starting shortstop out of camp. I could be wrong, but I've
seen no reason to indicate that won't be the case.
He's having a nice spring. He was a Rookie of the Year finalist last year. I don't see a world where we live in that he doesn't A, have the starting job, but B, even make the team out of camp. So I think Willie's pretty much got the job at short locked up unless something crazy happens between now and April 1st. But it's a nice comment. I like what he's saying. I agree with what he's saying, and hopefully what he's saying comes to fruition. And with bringing in these guys like Wilson Ramos and Robbie Grossman and some other guys, obviously AJ Hinch is a proven winner, whatnot. Let's see, and hopefully it comes true in Detroit.
And I think it goes with there was also a Jim Leland quote that came out, I think yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, depending on when I read it. I don't remember. But that, it's nice that we're not anybody's homecoming game anymore, which, obviously when you schedule the homecoming game, you want to schedule a win.
Yeah.
And that isn't the Tigers. And I have that sense of this roster that so far, cautiously, what we've seen in the spring is that these guys are more or less who we think they are. And so assuming that they continue along that trajectory as who they think they are, I think that we will see these guys competing in a lot of games. And, especially April, May, we might have a few rough goes as guys continue to make those adjustments to the major leagues, especially as the young guys, as you try and get them those reps to develop. But that we are going to start to see this is not an easy series to win when you come into Detroit or Detroit's coming to town.
Yeah, I agree with you in theory. I still think across the league, and in particular in the AL Central, I still think a lot of teams view us as the homecoming game. And you can't blame them for that because look at the Tigers the last 4 or 5 seasons. They have been that homecoming team that you just want to beat the crap out of. I'll have to kind of see it to believe it with this team. I do agree with you. I'm very optimistic. I'm always optimistic with the Tigers, and it always comes back to bite me in the ass. But I do believe that the winds of change are here. Do I think they're going to go out and win 100 games this season? I'd be pretty damn shocked if that happened. But hey, never say never. Anything can happen in the game, they say. So I definitely think this team is going to be more competitive. I think they're going to play the game a lot more scrappier than they have in the past. I think they're going to also be smart and scrappy. I truly believe that. So we just got to kind of watch them go out and play and take care of the rest. And they've got the right guy at the helm of the ship, so to speak. And I do think brighter days are kind of here and also still ahead for this team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely think that this will. I think that we will have a season that feels good. I hope. Knowing that it is still like the bottom of the mountain, that feels really good. That so long as we can see progress up to that peak of a World Series championship, that this is going to feel good as a year.
I just want to see this team compete again within our own division. I mean, the White Sox are obviously a much better team The Twins are good. They're a very good team, the Twins, but it's like they just take up space when they get to the playoffs because they're always one and done. Like it's just they're just a waste of space when it comes to postseason baseball. Cleveland is a weird team because they get rid of all these pitchers, yet they still got a couple good guys, anchoring down the rotation. They still can hit. But like I just feel any minute now the chips are going to fall and Cleveland's just going to fall apart completely. Kansas City's got a sneaky good lineup. You can't doubt that. Whit Merrifield is going to be a Tiger killer this year. I'm sure he's going to just piss me off as the season continues. Not that I don't like Whit Merrifield. I just don't like what he does to my favorite team. He just makes us look like fools every at-bat and in the field, it seems. So I want to see the team compete within the division again because, as we've said, for the last year or so we've been doing this show, if you can't beat teams like Cleveland and Minnesota, guess what? You're not going anywhere. You got to be able to beat the teams within your own division. And the AL Central has definitely improved this year as opposed to recent years. So, we got to see them competing with the guys they're going to see, multiple times throughout the year. And that starts against your own crop in your own division. So we'll see.
And then finally, our last story here, a bit of a fun one. NJOnlineGambling.com, the great researchers at NJOnlineGambling.com put out a survey of 2,500 Major League Baseball fans to discover who the booziest fans were. The Detroit Tigers in a tie for 8th place, with the average Tigers fan consuming 3.5 drinks per game at an average cost in stadium of $35 on booze during the game. That puts them in a tie. That the other organizations that have 3.5 drinks per game are the Baltimore Orioles, the Milwaukee Brewers, makes sense, the Minnesota Twins, and the New York Mets. Now, I want to tell you the difference between drinking in Detroit versus drinking in New York. The cost for 3.5 drinks at a Mets game, $53.
That's a lot of money
per game.
Yeah.
35 in Detroit, still a little high. The cheapest place you can drink 3.5 drinks is in Minnesota, where it's only going to cost you $29 to consume those 3.5 drinks. Now, the booziest were those White Sox fans.
Yep.
4.2 drinks per game.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. I've been to that stadium. I've been to U.S. Cellular now guaranteed rate more than any stadium in the major leagues. I mean, because when Detroit always comes to town, that's where I go, and I can confirm there are some livers that are being taken advantage of at White Sox games. There are going to be some very unhappy physicians down the road when they have some of their clients come in, and they can probably point a direct correlation to Chicago White Sox baseball. I want to say that the White Sox, last time I went to a Sox game was obviously in 2019 because we couldn't go to games last year. I want to say for a beer there, it was like, just for a can of Budweiser, or I think their big things are like Modelo's, I want to say. I want to say it was like $8 or $9. I'm trying to think how many I have when I go to a game. And honestly, although I poured a beer, I mean, I know my limit, and especially if I'm driving afterwards, I'm not a fool. Don't drink and drive. Be smart. I probably have 2 a game. I'll probably have 2 hot dogs, 2 beers.
Yeah, that seems about normal. That's
reason. And then if I'm really feeling good, maybe a dessert. But I told you, my big thing is when I go to the stadiums, I'm still on my quest to see all the 30 stadiums in the league. I always have to try the signature dish or the signature drink or whatever it is. So yeah, I definitely can believe the White Sox one though. Where did it say on there where the Cubs finished?
The Cubs are 3.4 drinks per game, so a little bit below. They're below that 8th place tie in what would be a 9th place tie with the Diamondbacks. The American League Central is very well represented at the top half of this list, with the White Sox at number 1, Cleveland tied for what is 3rd. Then the Tigers and the Twins right up there at 3.5 in that 8th place, and then right behind them the Royals at 3.3. So it's,
we're used to those Midwest winters where it's winter like 8 months out of the year, and all you can do is stay inside and drink. So when we're told you can go outside and drink, it's like, let's drink like it's the end of the world. I mean, although I am recently a Florida man, I spent many, 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 many winters in the Midwest, and they are no fun, as you can attest to as well. What was the team that drinks the least? So who finished dead last?
I was surprised by this based on my time living in this city. But
okay, let me guess.
Go ahead. Okay.
Give me a little clue. American League team or National League?
National League.
National League. And you just said you lived there for a little bit. Now I got to remember where my friends lived. And he's traveled the world. You're more of a Lewis and Clark than I am. Let's go with cities you've lived in. Didn't you live in San Diego, the Padres?
I have never lived in San Diego.
Okay, terrific.
I've lived in Los Angeles in Southern California.
Yeah, great. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, okay. I give up. This is no good. Who is it?
The Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh, wow. That is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I would have put them more in and this is just like, I put them more like a city like Milwaukee, like that kind of like blue collar city. We're going to we're going to go to the baseball game. We're going to have a beer.
Yeah.
But no, 2.4 drinks a game. Average spent $23 on booze at the game.
That's pretty surprising. So, I think also because of the hit TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. All those scumbags do is drink on that show. They just drink at Patty's Pub. So a bit surprising. I definitely would have thought it would have been more so like a team like honestly like the Diamondbacks or like the Marlins. But I guess I learned something here today.
So on this same survey, they conducted and asked who's the biggest pre-gamers, fans most likely to drink before the game starts. Who do you think tops that list?
Well, if it was football, it'd be the Buffalo Bills because those people they are just heathens when it comes to pregame activities. Boy, what team is the biggest pregame drinkers before going in to watch a game? I'm trying to think. I feel like it's an East Coast team. I am gonna go the Boston Red Sox.
Excellent guess. They actually didn't even make the list. They only showed the top 10 here. Red Sox not here.
Wow.
But the Toronto Blue Jays.
That's so crazy. I was thinking them in my head, but I was like, why would the Blue Jays? I mean, but hey, they got a lot to be excited for. They got a very good team, and they're going to have a fun little race in the AL East. I think they're going to give the Rays and the Yankees a little bit of a run for their money. That's surprising though. Pre-gamers, huh?
Yeah, and then the Cardinals are number 2, which if you've ever been down to, I mean, the Stadium District in St. Louis is awesome. It's a really great spot to be.
Yep.
And a lot of cities have them, but there is something about the way St. Louis is set up that it is a very nice situation. The White Sox are number 3, 67% of fans. Then the Cincinnati Reds, the Brewers, and then the Detroit Tigers. 62% of Tigers fans likely to drink before the game begins.
That's pretty good, man.
And then biggest lightweight drinkers. So fans most likely to have missed some or all of the game due to drinking too much. Who do you think tops that list, Luke?
So what fans missed the game because they just got too drunk? They couldn't even make it into the stadium, huh? Let's go with... It's got to be a team that's been mentioned, I feel like, at this point in time.
It is.
So I feel like it's got to be like Boston. They're just like I feel like a huge drinking town. But let's go with, you know what? Let's go with the White Sox.
It is the Chicago fans of the Chicago White Sox. 49% of fans have at some point missed some or all of the game.
You know what's funny
to drinking too much.
I mean, I've been on record saying in the past, I actually really like White Sox Stadium. I think the name is horrific, guaranteed rate, and the red arrow pointing down, I think is at a point in time, it was very ironic because it was speaking volumes to who the White Sox were, but now they really need to put that rate going up because they are definitely on the incline that the White Sox are. But in terms of drinking, I've had some pregame drinks at guaranteed rate before going into the stadium. And it's not like that nice of an area. They did just build like kind of a bar across the street, but it's definitely not like Wrigleyville where it's pretty much bar, restaurant, shop. There's like one bar to kind of drink at. It's nice. It's brand new. and then there's kind of like a skyway connected, so you can just like walk up and across to get into the stadium. And it is right across the street, but I definitely don't get like huge, like, let's go down there and pregame vibes. But that is so fast. Look at these Chicago White Sox, man. From not only are they a number one team in the American League, a top contender, but now they're also the biggest booze bags, it would appear, in baseball. So good for them. Good for those booze bags White Sox.
And then the Tigers in the lightweight category also coming in 6th on that list. 38% of Detroit Tigers fans.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Some or all of the game.
Yeah, well, the last few seasons, you can't really blame them for missing games. But the one thing next time I get up to Comerica, and again, I've only been once, and the last time I went, I think I was 14 years old, so definitely wasn't getting to being included on this list we just talked about. But I can't wait to the next time I get up to Comerica and just kind of get to do the tour around, get to some bars before the game, get in there, get some food, all that good stuff. You'll have to definitely be my tour guide for that one.
Absolutely. We can go, we can eat at Hockey Town.
I was going to say Hockey Town's the big thing, right?
Just great to eat at. And then there's some other good bars down there. We can grab a drink before we go into the stadium and grab 3.5 beers and 7 between the two of us. I just want to do that math for you, Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Carry the 2. You've got it. Great. Okay. That math checks out.
And we'll have a good time, and we can potentially do that this summer, which is great. Exciting times on the horizon for both just fans of baseball and fans of the Detroit Tigers, I think.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a hell of a ride this year, man. Again, I think there's a lot to be optimistic about with this team. I do think it is kind of a new era of Tigers baseball, from top to bottom, from players to coaches. I really am excited to see where this team goes. And, hey, you know what? We said happy birthday to me in the beginning. I know your birthday's next week, so happy early birthday to you. But aren't we coming up on our 1-year anniversary of the show, or have we already passed that?
I think we actually just passed it.
We did.
I don't remember the date that the first episode dropped, but it would have been this is probably the first episode of the second year of the show. So cheers to us, and cheers to all of you for listening and hanging around with us. Make sure you tell your Tigers fans about the show. Rate and review wherever you're getting it. If you're on the YouTube, if you're on the Facebook, if you're on the podcast, wherever it is, and then join us on Twitter as games get rolling, because we are always there during games, complaining and cheering and celebrating and doing all the great things that Tigers fans are known for. Also, probably cracking a beer.
I already beat you to it, Alex. So
well done.
Happy early birthday, my friend, and happy birthday to our little show we've done. And thank you, as always, to the fans for watching and listening and hanging out with us. You guys and gals are just the coolest.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.